Listen to the 48 Hours podcast for shocking murder cases and compelling real-life dramas from one of television's most watched true crime shows. Go behind the scenes of each episode with award-winning CBS News correspondents and producers in Postmortem, a weekly deep dive. Listen to 48 Hours wherever you get your podcasts.
Inspired by the life of the savvy and ambitious Colombian businesswoman Griselda Blanco comes a new Netflix original limited series. Griselda tells the story of a devoted mother who, with her lethal blend of charm and relentless savagery, creates one of the most powerful cartels in history. Witness Sofia Vergara's captivating transformation into the godmother of the underworld. Griselda, now streaming only on Netflix.
Burn again, burn again, burn again. ABCs.
Welcome to the Bare Naked ABCs, where we discuss every Bare Naked Lady song, whether it's red or blue, old apartment or new. Joining me tonight, I have my co-hosts Aaron, Jeff, and Heidi.
Hello.
And we have a special guest tonight, Craig Downie from the band Enter the Haggis. He's the creator of the band, the trumpeter, the person who plays the bagpipes. And am I right that you're also the bass singer that I hear like on the song, like One Last Drink? That's your bass voice?
Yes, it is. I'm very proud of it.
And then you're also the flautist.
Well, sort of. I'm a fake flautist, but I play tin whistles. So you see, you don't have to hold it sideways and blow over it like a pop bottle. So that's why I do that. Yeah.
And then also guitar.
Yeah, a bit of guitar. I 3 chords and the truth, you know.
I was watching the videos last night. I'm like, are there any instruments you don't play?
Yeah, well, I mean, I guess as long as you're good, good for one song on each instrument, then you can fool people that you're some kind of impresario. You know?
Well, you fooled me.
Oh, well, yeah. Well, that's what counts. Eh? That's what people are doing.
It doesn't take much to fool him.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, no, there's a lot of things. I mean, the main instruments for me are pipes and trumpet. Trumpet was my main instrument for a while. But the other ones I can get by on.
So tell us a little bit more about Enter the Haggis.
Well, lately we've had a bit of downtime.
I bet.
Yeah.
I wonder why.
Yeah, I mean, I think pretty well everyone has had a bit of downtime lately. But we should look ahead, a little more ahead, or maybe we should look into the past if I'm telling you about Enter the Haggis.
Sure.
Yeah, well, we're, for those of you out there who don't know who we are, we're kind of a Celtic rock band. I guess that's the best description. We've got an awful lot of influences that all seem to come together, and I guess that's why we kept the name Haggis, because a haggis is basically whatever you can get boiled in the lining of a sheep's stomach.
I learned that from So I Married an Axe Murderer, FYI.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah. Proof that watching movies is not a waste of time.
All right.
Now, how did you happen to come to Bare Naked Ladies, like listening to them and enjoying them?
You know what? It goes back quite a while. It goes back to about like 1991 or something like that, where a friend of mine said, I was getting into theater at the time, and I was trying to get into some kind of comedy theater and improvising theater and that type of thing. And I didn't live in Toronto, but I was just outside. And a friend of mine said, hey, I'm going to go to Ultrasound tonight. And Ultrasound being one of the hip bars in Toronto. And I'm going to see this band, the Bare Naked Ladies. Bare Naked Ladies. Wow. Well, that's a name for a band. Usually that would mean going somewhere else to see that, by that name. So anyway, we went to ultrasound, and we could barely get in with a shoehorn. And they weren't big yet, but the word was out. And man, that place was crammed. And of course I was blown away. And I'm watching these guys just play for a bit and then just improvise for a bit, just talk to each other.
Yeah.
Like they were a bunch of kids in a classroom being naughty. And I thought, I can be naughty. Maybe there's a chance for me to make it somehow. I hadn't even really thought about putting a band together at that point. But that's kind of when it happened for me. Just around that time, I just started thinking. I had already made my mind up that I wanted to be some kind of an entertainer because nothing else had worked out. But that's where it all started for me with the Bare Naked Ladies. And of course, after that, I got somebody had the tape, the 5-song, I think it was 5 songs, same both sides, side A and side A. And, and I listened to that and I thought, this is great. I mean, these guys are funny and this stuff is entertaining and they've got a great band going and all the rest of it. I thought, maybe this is more what I should be into instead of trying to be an actor. Because there was something like 2,000, so I've been told, theater groups going in Toronto at that time. Most of them very tiny and not getting anywhere. And it seemed like everyone and their dog wanted to be an actor. So, it was a heck of a lot easier once I got it going, with Enter the Haggis to make a living. It was a bit of a surprise, actually. So the band, the Bare Naked Ladies was a tremendous surprise, or a tremendous source of inspiration to me.
Wow.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Now, you had also mentioned that you actually got to share a stage with them in Vancouver, BC.
Yeah, we did. We played at a festival out that way. If you ever get a chance to go out and check it out, fantastic festival, the Vancouver Island Music Festival. Really good place. They take care of you. And everyone is kind of forced to amalgamate and play stuff together, except, of course, the big headliner, which was the Bare Naked Ladies. And they were the big stars of the festival. And this would have been, I don't know, it might have been 2018. I'm trying to remember. Or was it 2019? Yeah, who knows? Before we've had COVID since. We don't know what's going on anymore.
We don't count the years anymore.
Yeah, ancient history before 2020, isn't it?
It feels like it.
Yeah. So anyway, we were actually the last band on that night, and we heard from we didn't get a chance to talk to them much or anything. We just kind of saw them, and we'd heard from the guy running the festival, Doug Cox, who has run it every year. And he said, the guys were telling me that the Bare Naked Ladies said, hey, we thought we were the headliners, How come Enter the Haggis is going on last, right? But what they didn't know was that it was on the last day of the festival, everyone starts leaving just, a little after it gets dark. Everyone starts petering out. So, I guess we could brag and pretend that the Bare Naked Ladies opened up for us, but that would be very, very not true. They had the good spot, and man, they rocked it. They were incredible. And we were at the side of the stage going, oh, God, we got to go on after these guys. I don't know about this. Let's just go home now.
Oh. Well, I've heard from a number of your fans, and they say that you're pretty amazing.
Well, you might have a chance to find out for yourself if you're come out to one of the shows that are up and coming. And I think you're located somewhere in Maine. Is that not true?
That is true. Yes, you guys are actually coming on your near tour. Knock on wood, as long as everything remains cogent.
Yeah,
you're coming to Waterville, which is Aaron and I's old stomping ground.
Yep, I know the area well.
Yeah, it's going to be at the opera. What is it called? Waterville Opera House.
I used to run the soundboard for the opera.
Oh, you did?
Oh my gosh!
And I used to be an actor on its stage.
Yeah, you'll get in for free for sure. No problem. Tell them you know the soundboard and you know me.
Oh, and you're going to be in Millersville, Pennsylvania in a couple of weeks.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Yeah.
There you are.
Got that area.
At
Millersville's
Phantom
right down the road from me.
Yep.
At
Maybe it
Phantom
would be a
Power.
good idea for me to pull up my tour schedule so I could actually talk about it.
I was pulling it up right now.
And you're going to be in Concord, New Hampshire on February 3rd, which is a half hour away from me. So now I know to get some tickets.
That's awesome. Yeah, you're going to be right near my hometown. That's awesome.
Well, you folks, I'm sure I can. I have ways. I can get you in.
Sweet.
I have ways.
Oh, sweet.
I know the band.
I just put it on my calendar for February 3rd.
We have it in.
That's awesome. Because, you're there. You're in my house the day before you're in Tracy and Aaron's house. So,
Yeah, you're just you planned this, didn't you? You just got like all our areas.
The Bare Naked
I planned it that way.
right.
Well, speaking of houses, we should probably talk about this week's house, which is this old house, or rather the old apartment.
I was gonna say it's not a house.
No.
It's an apartment.
Yeah, this old house is that's a Bob Vila thing.
This old house.
This is a Paige Robertson song, but Aaron, what album's it on?
This one was a tough one. At first, I mean, obviously Stephen Page is singing, so this is before the schism. At first, I thought because it's sort of a straightforward pop rock song with a little country twang, which tends to be how they gravitated towards later years, and not that they didn't do that stuff prior. First, I was thinking Bare Naked Ladies are me or men, but I started listening really carefully to the instruments and the production, and the closest song I could kind of think of for what it sounded like listening to the way the guitar sounded and stuff, was Just a Toy, a song that I really like. And if I recall, that song was off of Born on a Pirate Ship, which is an album that I almost always forget about when I'm trying to play songs on. So did I mess up?
No, you got it right.
Oh, good. Okay.
I would also say there's an instrument missing in this song, and that might be a giveaway too.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Before Kevin was fully integrated, right?
Yeah, there's no
Right.
keyboard in the studio version.
That is. I got to remember that for my next Born on a
Aaron,
Pirate Ship.
Aaron, can I share with you, just FYI, what I've now started doing? So I made myself for the new year a notebook.
Yeah, she
So
is.
you can see my analysis for the whole
She's
song.
gotten organized.
So I'm going through every single song and keeping my analysis every week in this book. So, but I'm pretty stoked because there's no way I can be wrong this week because Aaron also.
Oh, no way.
I have. So I absolutely know that I'm correct.
I
was
told
gonna
you
say,
to
your
keep that
analysis-
secret and not tell him and nail it. And
I know, but I'm so cool that I have it.
It does make you cool.
It does make
like
you
you
cool.
that's like 3 cool points right there.
Yeah,
Right there.
At least we do.
Yeah.
Because this I don't think you can find anymore. It's going to be hard.
Yeah, that's
to
cool.
find.
Is that like the real book for BNL?
Mm-hmm.
No, it's just the best of Bare Naked
Gotcha.
Ladies vocal
Gotcha.
guitar book,
cool.
piano guitar book. But I'm glad because it shows you the capoed guitar as well as the original piano keyboards. So
That's
nice.
handy.
That's nice.
a good thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't usually see that in. Usually those types of. What have I caught from you, Tracy?
Oh no.
It's going through
Crazy.
the Zoom. Yeah.
It's an email
I've got a
virus.
hairball. Hairball. I
These
don't-
Zoom blocks aren't 6 feet apart. That's part of the problem.
Oh, that would do it. Yeah.
I'm gonna have to get further from the screen.
Yeah, that's
What I was going to say, Heidi, was that's a great thing that they actually show you what the chords are with a capo on, because it's a different deal than if you want to sing in the same chords that they're singing in. they wouldn't show you the capo position if they didn't, if it wasn't the same one, the way that they're doing it. And a lot of these books, have you guys seen Get Back?
Yes.
Not yet, but I want to. Yeah, it's definitely on the list.
Yeah, there's a part in there where they actually discuss just how terrible a lot of those fake books are. Those and all the rest of it, and they really are. There's crap in there. If you go through a fake book or a real book or whatever you want to call it, and you look through it, you'll always find stuff. There's either something completely missing out of it altogether, like maybe the introduction. I mean, that's kind of important.
Yeah.
You don't see, if you look at most Beatles books you look at, you don't see the intro to Let It Be. I mean, it's a whole thing. I know it's the same chord progression that's used in the song, but usually it's not there. Or they write every song will be in the key of C.
Right.
Isn't the case in real life.
That's what I was going to say. I've noticed recently looking up songs is they simplify it. It's always the straightforward chords. It's C, E, D. They don't tell you if it's a C or like an E major 7.
Oh, guess what, Jeff? You're going to love this song.
There's a C add 9 in it. I know. I hear it. My favorite chord.
Well, it's a C add 9 when you're capoed at 3.
Well,
it's an E flat add 9 if you're in the regular.
I was looking at my notes saying, wait, there's a C add 9 in this song.
It's if it's capo.
If you capo, it's a C add 9.
You guitar people, you're all the same.
Speaking of that, do you want the breakdown?
Well, speaking of that, if you've never heard this song before, here's a quick snippet.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Broke into the old apartment. This is where we used to live. Broken glass, broken hungry, broken hearts and broken bones. This is where we used to live. Why did you paint the walls?
I do want to throw a few facts out there before we do the breakdown, if that's all right.
Please.
Tracy facts.
Has got it going on.
So
that's the melody I heard.
This was the second single off this album. It actually did really well. It hit number 40 on the top 40 for Billboard in the US and number 88 on the Billboard Hot 100. In Canada, it hit number 14 though. Like it really skyrocketed in Canada. The one that they released though is not the one that's on the album. It's actually the single. If you can see here, if you turn it around, it is, you'll have to believe me, it's the radio remix. They actually did a radio remix of this, and that's what they released for the single, along with the second on the album was Lovers in a Dangerous Time.
The remix has the intro, right?
The remix has the
studio version just goes right into Broken. But
correct. Yes. So there's that. There's a slight mix difference with it being a little bit heavier on some of the instruments, and also on the radio remix they do the audio change with Steven's voice on the bridge. They do a kind of a distance, kind of canny type sound to it.
Right.
Okay.
But other than that, it's almost exactly the same. I don't know if they intended this to be a hit though, because it's number 7 on the album. Who puts their second hit single off the album number 7 when they're organizing? Like
maybe they were thinking along the lines of a set list, because I can tell you sometimes when you're writing a set list, I mean, an album order, a song order and a set list are a bit different.
Yeah.
But in a set list, you try to put all your funnier stuff in the middle, or slower stuff, and then try to drive it up a bit, at the end, so that you finish the set with some kind of, power to it. We do anyway.
Well, and
now you know our secrets.
I could understand it a little bit more if it were like number 8, because that would be the first song on side B. But both of their singles on this album are the last song on their respective sides. So you have Shoebox, that's the last song on the disc, and then you have The Old Apartment, which is the last, if you have a vinyl, it's the last song on that side of the album.
Well, Shoebox was a single too, wasn't it?
Yeah, they were both the only singles off this album.
Shoebox and Old Apartment. Yeah.
Once again, I have major problems with the way they organized this disc.
That's definitely a
You
sticking
could have
point
just
for you.
stopped it at major problems. Period.
Yeah, that's true.
Anywho,
yeah. So other than that, why don't we do a breakdown, Heidi?
Aaron, do you want me to do the chord progressions if you do the form, or do you want to split?
Sure. Yeah, let's
It's
do
the
that.
Heidi breakdown. So,
Did you know she had an intro now?
I have an intro.
I
wrote
love
it.
it. I love
Isn't it
it.
great? It's great. No copyright law infringement there at all.
Makes me want to go backpacking through Europe.
Oh, good.
So, as we already know, it's from
With some
Vogue.
girl named Carrie. Anyway.
From Vogue's 1997 Paige Robertson tune. It is in the key of B flat major. I love that once again we see on some websites A sharp major or B flat. I was like, there's no such thing as A sharp major.
A sharp major.
Anyway, it does follow a very basic. Aaron's going to deal with the form, but I'll take the progression of your basic 1-5-4. Which is pretty much prevalent through the whole thing, except there's a weird moment. Hold on here, right where you get into the G minor 7 chord is the one difference there. So so you have a minor 6-7 chord when you get into the verse. Or that I know we don't live here anymore in the bridge, actually. Sorry.
No, that's exactly
But
what I
it
had.
basically it follows your very traditional 1-5-4, 1-5-4, 1-5-4. You've got again that strange just flip. The one fun part, well, it's all fun. This is my favorite songs of all time. Is in the verse where I want it back. He lands on a half cadence. He lands on a 5 chord, so it kind of tells you the song's not over yet. And it gives you that kind of hold part, but a very simple form. But again, one of the greatest songs. So that's the basic chordal progression breakdown.
Did you have? I had. It was. I want to. Well, okay. Here's the interesting thing, Hattie. Here's my real question for you.
Yeah.
Would you consider this song to start on the chorus?
I consider this song to start on the chorus. Yes.
Yeah,
Except
that's
for
what
the
I said.
intro version, it starts on the chorus because you've got the broken to the old apartment is the chorus.
Right.
And then he doesn't get into the verse. And that's how it is in the book, too, by the way, before I even looked at it.
Yeah.
The verse is, why did you paint the walls? Why did you clean the floor? Those are these mini little verses, which are great.
Yeah, it's a really interesting form. It's not your standard, and it's kind of, I guess it's kind of like folk derivative. A lot of their stuff that is kind of atypical, I feel like, is kind of taken from folk song structure, where it's like verse, chorus, verse, chorus, verse, chorus. But in this case, yeah, I consider them to start on the chorus. So I'm glad that you agree. So we have our A section, our chorus, which, again, as Heidi pointed out, is basically 1-5-4. And then we go into our verse 1, why did you paint the walls? I did have a question about the verse. Maybe that was the bridge. There was definitely a part where I feel like it went 1-5-6-4.
And that, I think, is in the bridge.
The G minor.
Isn't that the 4 chords of pop right there? 1, 5.
Well,
6.
yeah, I mean, that's the Axis of Awesome or whatever.
Axis of
1, 5,
Awesome.
6, 4. Yeah.
So yeah, it's very much classic. But we have chorus A, your intro A, chorus A. Verse 1 is your B. Interesting to have a verse of B. Chorus A, chorus A. Verse 2 B, chorus A, and then I said bridge, which is C section, which is very similar to the verse. but slight changes there. And then your chorus again, then we vamp on 154 until the end.
Mhm.
I feel like, again, very kind of folksy in its structure. It's a really fun tune. It has more than a little bit of that 90s pop rock sound. Like I can hear a little Counting Crows, a little bit of the Wallflowers, maybe even a little Hootie and the Blowfish in there. How about you guys?
Oh, you know what, Aaron? At the bridge, I know we don't live here anymore.
Right.
There's a 2/7 chord right there. 2/7 chord. We bought an old house on the Danforth. That part right there. So there is that 2/7 chord that makes that kind of funkiness. So yeah.
It's interesting.
Music theory is super fun, y'all. Super fun.
It's a cool tune. I'm sure Tracy will talk about the many variants. Apparently, I only heard this one and the demo. The demo, of course, is much more stripped down and much shorter.
With lyric changes too. A couple lyric changes.
Yeah, listening to that, I can understand how the song got a slightly unusual sort of folksy form, because the original, it was almost like kind of a sad ballad, like a minor ballad.
Broke into the old apartment. This is where we used to live. Broken windows, broken hungry, broken hearts and broken bones. This is where we used to live.
It definitely has more, almost like a sea shanty form. You know what I mean? Like it's kind of, it doesn't sound like a sea shanty, but it's got that kind of very, very folk kind of interesting. And it's very, very short. Again, so it's like only a minute and a half, I think, for the demo. So it's interesting to see how the song evolved. I like the studio version a lot. I mean, the original interesting, and but I can see why. I think Steve wrote it as like kind of a sad minor ballad, and then Ed was like, "Why don't we, kind of kick it up a little and turn it into a pop rock song?" And I love. To me, since the pop rock version, the studio version has a little bit more of that manic energy, I think it pairs really well with the lyrics, which are a little unhinged.
Yeah.
So I think it's very programmatic.
That's a good way to put it, yeah, because you do kind of get it. You do kind of wonder about this guy in the song. We'll get to the lyrics, but you do question his motives quite a bit.
I know we're going to touch lyrically, but melodically, it's also very interesting because you bring up a good point. In the verse, it doesn't sound like like it tricks you so much because he does the, why did you paint the walls? Why did you clean the floor? Why did you plaster over the whole I punch in the door? This is where we used to live. You think that that's the chorus right there, but it's not. It's like, oh no, psych. Why did you?
That's my favorite moment of the song right there.
Still,
right after the first part of the
that's where the chorus is starting, but it's not. It's still the verse. It's a very interesting melodic line.
I appreciate that there's no like, I mean, there's like some repetition, why did you blah, blah, blah. And like, it was our house or whatever, or it was our place. But the lyrics continue to change. There's no like standard refrain that doesn't change.
Nothing ever repeats. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's why I think it's a little hard to differentiate the verse and the chorus, because they both change. And it's just really interesting.
Yeah. I didn't realize. So it's actually through composed then.
Yeah, I would say so.
Yeah, I would say so.
I'll have to go back and check, because not something I'd really thought about, because it flows so well.
Yeah.
Usually, a lot of songs they flow well because they have a repeated chorus or a repeated part to them, and everyone can hook up with that.
Mm-hmm.
There are repeated ideas and like musical melodic phrases, but it's definitely lyrically.
Yeah, never a repeated section where it's the same lyrics again.
Yeah, I think the only thing that repeats looks like broke into the old apartment. Yeah, I saw these guys play this out at the festival that we were talking about, and I know Stephen Page was the one who sang it in the recording. But it was Ed Robertson that was singing at that time, and
wow!
These guys, they can pull it off. I mean, it's a strange thing.
It sounds different when Ed does it.
Yeah, I saw the because they were doing the live streams, the Zoom live streams during the pandemic, and they did this, and Ed did it, and I didn't even let it connect when it started playing. I was like, oh yeah, this is Ed doing it. But I was really impressed at how well he did it. He pulled it off too. It sounded great. And they also added the keyboard to it, so Kevin played the keyboard, which I like that too. So I actually think that version might be my favorite because I like that additional keyboard in the song.
I would like to hear that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you listened to the Talk to the Hand live in Michigan version then, Jeff?
No, that I didn't hear.
You get Steven singing it and all the original percussions, and you got Kevin in there playing all at once.
So I do think it's funny because Kevin is in the music video playing guitar.
Well, that's because he came in just after the recording sessions for this album. He came in and did the tour with them.
Yeah.
And so he was there for the video. But yeah, people are like, who is this guy all of a sudden?
Yeah.
Pretty weird. Must have been pretty weird for Stephen Page to see that. He recorded it and then he would have seen the video and he would have seen Kevin Hearn in there. And
I do want to point out that that there's someone that is given credit online on Wikipedia for part of the music on this that is not given to it in the credits for whatever on the liner notes for whatever reason. On the liner notes, we have Jim playing the electric bass, we have Steven doing the electric guitar, we have Ed on pedal steel guitar, and we have Tyler on the fat drums and shaker. But according to Wikipedia, Gene Hardy played the musical saw. Gene Hardy has done a whole bunch of stuff. He was part of the Bourbon Tabernacle Choir and did numerous other musical jobs. You ever want to look up his life online on Wikipedia? He has a lot of solo CDs out there. He does a lot of saxophone and Hammond, a lot of funk and jazz. It's really kind of cool. I think if there's ever I didn't happen to go through all of them.
Still less instruments than Craig though.
I think so, yeah.
No.
And don't forget it.
I don't think,
Yeah, there's a lot of things. Tambourine, I play tambourine. Does he play a tambourine? No.
Maracas, castanets,
cowbell,
Bassa,
finger cymbals,
fuchsia,
The finger cymbal, the zills.
go-go bells.
But still less than Andy Cregan because he's played the ceramic.
No, this isn't a competition.
Andy is the white. Andy is the white prince. Okay.
Yes. I want to move us over to talking about the lyrics of this song, and what people always think that this song is actually about, and what it really actually is about. Who would like to start about what this song's about? What they think this song is?
I'm going to hand this off to Craig, but I do want to say that despite everyone thinking it was about the one thing, I never got that. So we'll get there, but I never heard that. But yeah, Craig, you wanna start on this one?
Well, it's very, very kind of you to give me first crack because I know everybody's got thoughts about this. But like everybody else, I was except you, Jeff. Probably like everyone else, of like, what the hell is going on here? This guy broke into somebody's apartment and he's creeping around. And he knows everything. He must be in there because he knows about the dish rack. And a hole he punched in the door, he's got to be there. So, like right off the bat, what I liked about it was, it draws you in. You're like, there's tension. And as we know, tension and resolution is a great thing in music. And or no resolution, but usually you need something to tie everything together somehow. So I had that type of thought that he must be in there and he's creeping around. Or where is he? Is he in some woman's apartment? Like, what's going on here? Do I have to report this guy for singing this song? I call the authorities. But as you listen through it and you read the lyrics a couple of times. In my case, anyway, I started to think, you know what? I really get this. I think I get what he's talking about, and I think I get it quite well. Because I think back to how it was when we started Enter the Haggis, and back when it was only an idea, and I was broke, and I was dealing with, I was dealing with poverty, frustration, all the rest of it. A dish rack and an instrument would have been my treasured items back in those days. I mean, I don't know about you guys, or if you've been through some tough times, but I tell you, moving to Toronto and trying to make it as an entertainer was pretty challenging. And I really see that in this song. I feel I can identify with it personally, because I feel like he's talking about a time and how tough it was. And then, looking back on it after having some success and having bought a house on the Danforth and in Toronto. I guess you folks aren't near Toronto, but the Danforth, I used to play up on the Danforth too in a little pub called Allen's. We used to fit on a tiny stage up there. And it's a pretty cool area to live in, and it's all these old houses. And he probably did buy a house on the Danforth after he got some money from making it. But you think back to the early times where you lived in some crappy place, and you didn't have you didn't have much money, and you were frustrated and all the rest of it. But as they say, so there's some, I don't know, maybe a Hungarian saying or something, some Eastern European thing where they say the seed must get rotten before it germinates. Or something like this, and I kind of get that out of the song, and I get the nostalgia, to look back and remember just, the roots of my band. And I think he's remembering the roots of his band in the song.
Well, I think that about sums it up. Good night, everyone.
Yeah, no, I mean, I completely agree, because when you were saying that, Craig, I was just thinking about my band from my days in college and a few years after, when we were gigging regularly, and I did not live in luxury accommodations, but I still definitely have a lot of warm feelings and nostalgia about that time in my life. So I totally get that. I think the lyrics it's interesting because they hit me different. I obviously listened to the song several times because I analyze it and everything. And they're somewhat disturbing, and they're somewhat comical, and they're somewhat tragic, and it kind of, when I was listening to it after a few times, it started to make me think of the film Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. It's almost like this person's memory of this place is fading, and they want so badly to get it back, so they just want to go in and grab the dish rack and the mousetrap.
And I think what makes this song interesting with the change from the original sound of it to the harder sound of it is the anger that seems to come out in it. We have this nostalgia, we have these lyrics of nostalgia and wanting to go back and wanting to kind of relive and be in the past, but also being happy with today. But then there's that angry piece of you've changed things around here. You've kept some of this, but you've also changed things. And how dare you change my memories? How dare you change these things that should be forever etched? And that little bit of narcissism that goes with that moment of this is me, and you've changed as part of me. And I like that anger that's kind of hidden in the song and bursts out every now and then in these moments of the song.
Yeah.
And it never quite goes away either, which I like. There's a brief moment where you think it does, but then it ends with that really big I want them back. Yeah. Yeah.
So go ahead, Jeff.
Well, I was going to just say too that the other thing I like about the song, because I definitely agree with what Craig says, that it's like that nostalgia feeling that you paid your dues. the image he paints of this apartment is nothing good. There's nothing good about it. It's, there's crooks up and down. There's crooks up and down the street. Yeah. There's a crooked landlord. A nosy neighbor. He punched a hole in the wall. Obviously, he was frustrated. There were broken hearts and broken bones. Like, it was a miserable experience. It sounds like, but then now that he's happy or he's got this place and everything, but he's gone back, it's like, none of that matters anymore. The nostalgia and everything that he went through, the journey part of it, I think, is where he's like, man, I miss this. I miss every part of this.
Yeah.
Which I really love that.
Yeah. It's like he I think maybe he wants some inspiration back,
Yeah.
So what came out of that, I mean, you do wonder, and he's talking about how good his life is now in his old house in Danforth with a woman. But you wonder, is he trying to convince himself that he's happy,
Right.
or,
We talked before about how struggle can provide great inspiration for art. So that's an interesting point.
Yeah, I would say for sure.
Yeah. Like if your life is too cushy, it takes the edge off, What I mean?
Right. It's harder to write when you're happy.
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you, it certainly worked for us. We used to have I had this guitar that was okay. And the guy who lived with me, he was our first bass player, Rob McCready, and he went by the nickname of Rodent. Which was a great nickname for a while until we discovered there was some murderer who went by that same nickname.
Oh no!
So we unrodented him, and I wish I could have unrodented my old apartment because it was bad. But we had two guitars. I had one that was okay, and it actually had a pickup in it. And then we had this other thing, and I don't know where Rob had got this thing from, but it was just god awful. It was like a Winston or something, and it had this very small body on it, no tone. It looked like a planter's peanut, like Mr. Peanut. You could have drawn the face on it, and we called it the Peanut. And he used to ask me. He'd beg to borrow. We'd go out busking. He'd beg to borrow my guitar because it was. At least people could hear it, and you wouldn't be strumming Mr. Peanut on the street corner. But I would only let him use it in decent weather. Otherwise, he was out there with the Peanut. And you know what? He wrote some decent songs on that thing, and he was in debt. The phone was ringing, hardwired old dial tone, and hardwired, what do you call it, landline. And I had to answer the damn phone every day to tell him that he didn't live there, which was bullshit because he was sitting next to me at the time with the Peanut in hand writing some time.
The good old days, huh?
Oh, yeah. Anyway, back to you.
I haven't heard from Heidi at this point yet.
So I think of this right at after college, we had my first husband and I had this crappy little downstairs of a house we had rented. So it was like an apartment upstairs and a part downstairs. But there was a lot of all of these, like every time I drive by the place still, I'm like, I wonder if they still have the wallpaper up that I painstakingly put up. I wonder if the paint that I put in Katie's first bedroom is still there. Like all of those things that you painstakingly take care of and nurture in those houses. And now she's 24 and we moved from there when she was 2. So it's been a long time since we've been there, but I still think of it as my place. And then our first house is, that when we divorced, obviously that the house is still there, but I haven't lived there since 2006. And every time I drive by the house, I'm like, I wonder if that is still like that in the bedroom. I wonder, like all those little things, and you want to go in. I want to see what if they dented it, what if they changed.
I think that's normal
to it. Like I think of those things all the time, and it's so weird, but it's true because you do like Jeff, you said too, and Craig and Aaron both mentioned, like you feel like you own some of it even though I haven't lived at the first place in over 20 years, but I still feel like that was, it's inside of me, all those moments. The moment where Katie fell down, the moment where, some bad things happened, or, we got word that people had died, or like all of the things that happen in your life in that space, because all of these, and for somebody like me, I grew up homeless and transient when I was a kid, all over the place. We had moved 24 times before I was in 6th grade, and another 29 times between 6th and 12th grade. So I literally did not know what home was. So after I got out of college, I've literally lived in 4 places. The apartment I had in college, or right after college, 3 places. The house that my husband and I bought in Hillsborough first, after Kate was about 2. And then my house now that I've lived in now since 2006. So my adulthood has been firmly planted in one major place with all these memories. And I think that there's something to that need to identify with your surrounding and your place. And I am wondering, like, what happened to those places? And what's really funny is there's one house that we lived in when I was really little. I was 5 years old. It was the only house we ever lived in right before my parents got divorced, and we'd only lived there for less than a year. And it was really funny because I was at a conference a couple of years ago, and this guy who lives in Vermont, music teacher, was at this conference, and he's talking to me about, he's like, no, I live in Claremont. I was like, oh, I grew up there. I taught there, blah, blah, blah. And I said, and I lived in this house right on the corner of this particular street. And he's like, oh my gosh, that's where my parents live now. And he wasn't lying. I sent him a picture that I had from when I was a kid of that house, and he sent me updated picture. I was like, oh my gosh, like there was the little attic room and all of these things. So it was so neat, because you don't want to be that creep that's like, hey, can I come in and check out the house?
Yeah. That breaks into the old apartment.
I want to see what you've done. Do you still have the dish rack? And so there's that side, but also the side, like you nail it when you're like, he also seems kind of angry. Like, it's not that all of the times in that space were pleasant or good, right, or, there were great memories, but like this house is the only house my son has ever known. Mm-hmm. So I can see, there's all of the memories created from bringing my son home from the hospital to when the dog chased the cat out the window and killed it. Like there are a plethora of good memories and bad memories, but even in a space.
Yeah. But even when one of those things has changed, so I have gone back, not inside the house, but I've driven by old houses that I've lived in. I did not break it.
No one on the show is going to publicly admit to breaking into their old apartments or houses.
Who's the guy with the binoculars across?
But I've driven by my old house once or twice before. And when you see something changed, even if it's something that you wanted changed, there's a moment of frustration of like, how dare you? How dare you do that? There was a huge, ugly...
Like, you guys put in a garage? What the fuck? Like one of my houses, a huge, ugly, falling down garage that was just ready to just go. We never took it down, but like 5-10 years later, we drove by and we're like, oh my gosh, they got rid of the garage. They got rid of the garage.
How dare you?
I know. Like, oh my goodness.
Outrageous.
But at the same time, we're like, but that's what we wanted to do. Like that moment of self-awareness of like, why was I angry?
It wasn't for them to do. It was for you to do.
Either way, you're going to be pissed. Like if they made it better, you're going to be pissed. And if it looks like crap.
They haven't done anything with that garage yet.
You're going to be pissed. Like, wow, they really let that place go to heck.
No, I was happy that they hadn't done anything with the rest of the house. It was the fact they did that one change. And like when I go back to my old hometown, like when something changes, there's a bit of me that gets a little upset.
That store closed that you used to go to, or
that piece of my past is gone.
Because it feels like it's something that's incorporated into your identity, and it was changed
Why wasn't I
not
called?
even your permission, without your knowledge. So it feels right, and it's like it's totally illogical, but like that's the way our minds work. I remember driving by the house that I grew up in a very small town here in Maine, and I realized that they had really replaced the nice wood outside with like vinyl siding, and I don't really care, right? Like, what do I care? But like, I was like, why would they do that? Like,
And the neighbor downstairs could have moved. You don't know, but you're like,
but you're banging
on the floor.
Well, what I love about this song is just imagine that you are the current resident of this
I've
apartment,
often wondered that too when they come back.
And this person just like breaks in and is like, "Why do you still have the dish rack? This is mine." I mean, it'd be terrifying.
honey, did you see the dish rack? It was here when I left for work this morning.
It just ripped the phone out of the wall.
That was one of my notes. Was like, he rips the phone out of the wall.
Tore the phone out of the wall. What?
Like, this person's gonna come home and nothing else has changed. Just the phone is on the floor.
I think we've had a robbery. Well, what did they take? A mouse trap, the dish rack, and they ripped the phone out of the wall. Is your jewelry all there? Yeah.
Do we know for sure it's the same mousetrap though? Because if so, that's a really worthless mousetrap. Or there's no rodents. Because if that mousetrap,
no. But wait a minute. So in my office. In my office on campus, Craig, I'm a professor at Castleton University in Vermont. I'm the director of music education there. And there was a mousetrap under my desk that had been there, I kid you not, since about 1974 when one of my predecessors, who was still an adjunct there, put it there. It was wooden and old. I was afraid to touch it because I was afraid it was going to
really
spontaneously explode
in there.
Break my cheese was gone. The cheese is gone. Luckily, I had a brave student remove it for me. But you're probably right. That mousetrap was probably pretty bad.
Well, I don't know what the mouse problem is like where you folks are, but I'll tell you,
really?
Toronto is infested.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It's like Secret of Nim up in there.
What's that?
Oh, I was just making an obscure reference to it's kind of my thing. The Secret of Nim, the animated film.
I do love the line, "Why did I have to break in? I just came here to talk."
Okay. Yeah. You're really wondering if he really did this or if it was all in his head, you know?
Whoa.
You know? Because, I mean,
okay. Like he's standing in the apartment going, "Wait, what went wrong? Where did I go wrong?"
More likely.
Yeah,
I mean, the words flow out of these guys. Like, if you go to a Bare Naked Ladies concert, you know that, especially in the old days, I didn't notice much of the banter. Not anything like what it was in the old days. When I saw them at Vancouver Island, of course, Stephen Page was gone. But back in the old days, when I had seen him, and I'd seen him a few times, it was like the banter was heavy. Mm-hmm. It was very heavy. They were making all kinds of stuff up as they went along. So words come out of these guys all the time. You know, they're just like that. So train of thought, as if you couldn't tell by the number of songs they've written. Words come out of these guys, and they totally. I mean, it's almost like Ulysses or something here. You know, it's just.
It does feel like a very train of thought
song. You know, why did I break? You know, just going along with everything that would happen if you're thinking about your old apartment and imagining going there and what would you do and what would it be like. And
one thing we talk about the lines and how smooth I'm sorry, did I just interrupt someone? I apologize. One thing I like, we talk about the tightness of their lyrics a lot of times, the wittiness of them, and just their use of wordplay. And they do that really well here. And I tried to match that when I did the parody too, but like broken glass, broken hungry, broken hearts, and broken bones. So much right in that in those two lines. And then they do it again with the crooked landing, crooked landlord, narrow laneway filled with crooks. Just that twist of the wordplay where they can take one word and just spin the meaning so many times. And just they say so much with so little, and I love that.
Yeah, they're masters at it, no doubt.
I do want to point out that Steven says that this song was inspired by Back to the Old House by the Smiths.
I would rather not go back to the old house. There's too many bad memories, too many memories.
I actually went out and I listened to that song this week, and I would say loosely inspired, because listening to that song, it's the exact opposite. The person doesn't want to go back to the old house in that song versus this person definitely has a need to go back to his old apartment.
Tracy, I have to tip my hat because I was not expecting a Morrissey Stephen Page connection in this episode, so I really appreciate it.
And then the other thing is, I want to direct people. I'm not going to read it because it is about 2 pages long. There's a wonderful interview on songfacts.com with with Ed Robertson, where he gives a very lengthy description of where this song came from and one of the inspirations of this song. And the story is fabulous. I wish I could read it, but it would take forever, and it wouldn't be done. It would be done in my voice instead of the one in your own head. So I recommend people go out and read it, because it is just absolutely amazing. I'm gonna, if people are willing, if there's no more,
I was going to say the one thing we did, and I don't know if you were going to go there, but the one thing I've often heard about this, where people, I think, was that where you were going to go?
Yeah, go ahead.
Did I get it wrong?
Nope, I was going to go.
Okay. Well, the one thing I've heard a lot is that a lot of people think that he broke into his ex-girlfriend's house. Like he's some kind of stalker who broke into his ex. I've seen that a lot. Yeah. That was what I mainly remember. Yeah. I didn't get that. And I feel like, and to a certain extent, maybe it sets you up to think that. But when you get to the bridge, I've always felt like that's where they kind of put the kibosh on that. I know we don't live here anymore. But so he and
we bought an old house.
So we both moved out of this, but I've seen that interpretation a lot.
I love the fact that he yells angrily, "I'm happy there."
I'm happy.
That
right.
How dare I be happy?
I guess we can call that the final chorus, but that final chorus has to be that. Like Stephen Page has this amazing ability to just keep escalating vocally. And I love a song that builds.
Yes.
That doesn't say stagnant. It just builds and builds. And by the time he gets to the end, he's practically screaming. Like he's I could just picture him in the apartment just screaming like, tore the phone out of the wall. Only memories, fading memory. I just love that, how he wraps it up. And then to come back into I Want Them Back, it's just such a perfect ending.
Well, and to use a word tableau in a song, like
that's B&L. That's B&L. That's total B&L.
Yeah, that's.
I would like to direct us over to the video, though. The video that was directed by Jason Priestley, which was directed by him after the whole fiasco with Shoebox, which we will be coming back to, of course, sometime later on this year when we discuss Shoebox. Wonderful story there. But Jason Priestley was so upset about that whole fiasco that he's like, you know what? God, I want to direct this next video for you. And then he personally backed it to promote it in the US. He videoed it in Toronto, like took the time to go up to Toronto between shooting for 90210. And then also, not only did he do that, but he also pushed for MTV to play the video on MTV as well and really get these guys some notoriety in the US. And then he also took it a step further. It's like, you know what? I'm going to have them play down in the Peach Pit after dark on 90210 as well.
I remember that. Yeah, I remember.
And then I don't know who, but then Apple decided to put it on their OS 8 installer CD as the music video for that CD. So you could get it there. Like this thing, just totally blew up for them.
All right. You'll be really curious about this incident now, and I can't find it. Now I got to wait probably, 7 months to find out? Holy cow.
You have to wait about
10
months.
Now I need to know the Jason Priestley shoebox incident.
It's the shoebox incident. It's not it's not Jason Priestley. But
Jason Priestley.
He was the
connected.
savior for BNL.
Oh, all right.
He was the guy who came in and saved them with this video, which is wonderful.
I'm intrigued.
So, should we get into versions? Should I go through all of the versions? This is the part where I'm going to lose my voice. This is the song in the BNL library that has the most versions that have been recorded and put out on actual like media.
Really?
Not covering covers and parodies. I don't know if anyone's ever done a parody of this song. There are 9 versions of this song. So to begin with, we have the demo one that you guys mentioned earlier that we later find on the Stop Us If You've Heard This Before. It is a softer, more acoustic, and I love the way that you put it earlier, Heidi, the Lisa Loeb version of this song.
It reminded me of "And You Say Stay." It was very much like Lisa Loeb.
I'll be honest, I don't like it. It's too sad. It's too soft. It's too heartfelt. I like the anger in the later versions. Second version is the Rock Spectac version, which is just them playing it live.
Broke into the old apartment. This is where we used to live. Broken glass, broken hungry, broken hearts and broken bones. This is where we used to live.
Except for seeing music live, I don't like live recordings as much as I like actual recordings from a studio. Few exceptions would be Brian Wilson. This is not one of the exceptions. But basically the Rock Spectac version is them playing it live. Extended version, the extended versions version is, nothing different except they play it about 5 to 10 beats per minute slower. So it's a longer recording. Actually very disappointed. The Persuasions version.
Why did you paint the walls? Why did you clear the floor? Why did you plaster over the hole I punched in the door? And this is where we used to live. Why did you keep the mouse trap? Why did you keep the dish rack? These things used to be mine. I guess they still are. I want them back.
Sounds like it was arranged by Kevin or one of the Persuasions, or maybe it was just a Persuasions cover with some of the BNL people coming in. It's very different. I kind of like that it's different, and they had a different take on it. It's just a very different vibe. Red Rock's version, when they played it live again.
Broke into the old apartment. 42 stairs from the street. Crooked landing, crooked landlord, narrow laneway filled with crooks. This is where we used to live.
But this time Ed is on lead, and his voice doesn't seem to match the song as well for me, to my ears. The song is also played with more distortion on the guitar. There is the radio mix version, which is we talked about earlier, and I'm not going to go into it differently again. There's the Talk to the Hand version, which I brought up earlier, but with Kevin on the keys, it really kind of gives it a sadness and a reminiscence behind it, as well as a bluesy feel, which is cool. And you get to see Joe playing something in the background there. You don't know what he's playing, but you can tell the way he's moving that he's playing something back there. And it's cool to see them just having fun with each other on stage. There's the Selfie Cam Jam version, which has a very Persuasions type feel. Whew. Okay, those are the official versions.
You need a drink or anything?
There are covers.
Right.
I'm almost there.
You good?
I'm almost there.
Come on, Rocky. You got it, Rock.
Cornbread Red did a cover of this song.
Broke into the old apartment. This is where we used to live. broken glass, broken hungry, broken hearts and broken bones. This is where we used to live.
Of course, the bluegrass version of it, it's slower, but also bluegrassy, so it's kind of a very relaxing feel. It's kind of cool. Greyscale did a much harder version of this with more distortion on the guitars, and the guitars are more up front.
Broke into the old apartments. This is where we used to live. Broken glass, broken hungry, broken hearts and broken bones. This is where we used to live.
Think kind of like 2000s music. I can't think of the name of the band that it would be with, but it reminded me very specifically of some 2000s bands, and I couldn't specifically.
I haven't heard it, but since I'm
which
contractually
ones.
obligated to mention Fountains of Wayne, I'm just going to go ahead and say that. All right.
Sure, there we go. Well, speaking of you, Jeff, do you want to talk about any parodies of this song?
Well, I've done one.
Moved into my new apartment. Fought with Dad and said so long. Won't get lost, folks seem friendly. Cook in my house, broken bad. What could possibly go wrong? Marks cover up the walls.
You've done the only one.
Have I done the only parody of this song? No,
the only parody of this song.
Well, no, actually, when I started writing the horror comedy music or the horror themed songs, and I had put out a certain one about Host, the movie Host, which features one of the people on this panel actually in vocals and on the video. There was a movie called 1BR on Netflix. And the producer of 1BR actually asked me, well, when are we getting our parody? And I was like, what? That was the first time I was like, kind of like, oh, I'm being noticed for something I'm doing. It was cool. So I said, I guess I could do that. I was trying to do some original stuff. I was trying to think of some songs, and I'm thinking, well, I'm literally on a Bare Naked Ladies podcast, and the whole movie is about this girl who moves into an apartment and creepy stuff happen. I'm like, there's the song. So I did a parody to this called The New Apartment. Basically a retelling of the storyline. But that's on my YouTube channel. So that was a lot of fun because I really like when I did the lyrics for it. Like I said, because I really like the word choices that they use, the spitting of the words through them. So I tried to keep that same feel going, but still land some jokes in the process.
And Jeff, where can our listeners find that?
That's on my YouTube channel, Jeff Whitmire 47. You can find that there.
And you'll find that in the liner notes for this week.
Did you know that on that YouTube channel photo, though, it says Bare-Cated Ladies?
Does it really? Oh.
BARENKATED.
Oh,
ladies.
my PR person must not have caught that. I'll
Bare-Cated Ladies. Bare-Cated Ladies.
I'm so sorry, Jeff.
Bare-Cated. That song's been up there for over a year, and you're the first one to catch that. I will have to go edit that.
I am that person.
Thank you. I
I'm so
appreciate
sorry.
that.
Well, before you edit that, Jeff, can you do me a favor?
Yeah.
Can you give us a rating for this week's song and explain to Craig how we rate our songs?
Craig, what we do is I pick an arbitrary rating scale based on something that we said. How we rank it is a scale on 0 to 5. 0 is a song that you wish had never existed. You never want to hear it again. 5 is an absolute masterpiece on your playlist. And we do decimals. So to make it...
Actually, can I interrupt?
You may.
Jeff, can I suggest a different rating system
you
for
sure
this week?
Can. What would you like?
In honor of our guest.
It is your show.
Craig, on bagpipes, how many of the extensions, the things that you play, what are those called?
Drones.
Drones. How many drones are on a bagpipe?
Well, there are 3. Well, there are 5 things sticking out of the pipe, so you could say out of the bag, right?
Yeah.
So you've got like, let's just say, the first one, the kind of you're blowing through it, and it could get spit in it. Like, let's just call the 0. Let's just call that the spit valve.
Spit valve. Okay, so 0 is the spit valve.
There's actually there is a valve at the end. But we could call it the blowpipe, okay? Because it's the blowpipe.
I mean, I think it's safe to say that nobody's going to rank this song a blowpipe.
Yeah,
but
I don't think that's
blowpipe. Yeah, because it blows. So you could just say that's the blowpipe.
We might have to use that again.
0 would be the blowpipe. Okay,
it's a blowpipe. And if it's this drone, there's 2 smaller drones, 2 tender drones, and 1 bass drone. So we could go, outside tenor, middle tenor, big bass. I don't know.
Okay. All right.
That works.
That works. And then the part you play on is the chanter. So that could be number 5. I don't know if you want.
I like that.
Yeah. So you could say you could give it a blowpipe. That's a 0.
Oh, how many holes are on the chanter?
9.
Oh, never mind. I tried. We'll go with that measurement. I like that measurement.
Yeah. There's 8 holes and 9 notes.
Let's keep it PG-13, guys.
I feel like you should have researched bagpipes more before you came on the show, Tracy.
Epic fail.
Yeah, like what happened?
Yeah, seriously, drop the ball on that. You knew you had.
Do you want to see how many pages of notes I have tonight?
Man,
and I'm sick. I mean, come on.
The next time we get an accordion player, I expect like a week. Like when we get Weird Al on the show, I expect like a week's worth of research.
Al, we know you listen. Please come on the show.
Al, absolutely.
Okay, so I think just to get the rating straightened out, I've been thinking about this. I put a lot of thought into
All
this.
right.
I was working on this before you. I knew you were going to ask me this.
Okay.
Before. I think we should say blowpipe. That's a 0.
All right.
Blowpipe, 1 drone, 2 drone, 3 drone, chanter.
Okay. 1 drone, 2 drone, 3 drone.
Chanter.
Chanter.
Okay.
Chanter.
So chanter would be like a 5 then. Right?
As a music professor, you would know all about the origins of the chanter, the chanter.
The chanter.
Yes.
I always wanted to play bagpipes.
Well,
me too, actually.
I'm like, get on it. It's not that bad. Takes a little while. Takes a bit of patience. Takes a lot of hot air.
Well, I should be great at it.
So, Aaron, I was going to say.
I beat you to it, Jeff.
So who do you want to go first, Jeff?
But we can do decimals too. So you can do a 4 or 4.1. We tend to say like a 4 to 5, anything between 4 to 5. That's like your playlist. That's going to be on your playlist. But yes, Craig, you are the guest. How about we have you rank this song first? If you'd like to, explain a little bit about why you ranked it that way, you can too.
Oh, okay. Well, I would rate this as a bass drone with 2 notes on the chanter.
Okay.
It's not a full chanter, but it's on the chanter. So,
okay.
The reason I would do this is it's just so damn catchy, and I think more than anything else, since I knew I was going to be doing this podcast, I played it a few times just to remind myself, and I went over the lyrics, and man, it's a better song than I ever realized it was. Really, to me, I think my reasons for it, giving it quite a high rating, is that being extremely catchy, being extremely witty in the lyrics, really building tension, starting off with tension, drawing you into the picture, paints a picture. It's artistic. You, in your mind's eye, especially if you have a bit of history of living in a crappy place in your youth, and it seems like most of us here have, I think it speaks to us. So, and that is all I have to say. But
so numerically, I can't.
That'd be like a 4.2 or
okay.
I'm giving it a 4.2.
Okay. I was gonna say I was hearing a 4.2 in there.
Okay.
Aaron.
Well, what a coincidence, because I also was thinking of 4.2 out of 5. It is a fantastic song. Craig, the way we do it is anything a 4 or above is going to make it on. When we finish this podcast, we have like basically a playlist that we would make of, like our own best of. And this definitely deserves to go on that playlist. It's like I said, it's funny. It's kind of a little just slightly weird and deviant, and it's just slightly disturbing, but in a funny way. And it's also, like I said, kind of tragic. And the lyrics are very clever. The song itself is a very interesting form, and it's not too crazy. It's fairly simple, but it's also deceptively it's kind of different. It's fun. It's great to listen to. I would definitely come back to it. So I would say easily a 4.2. So I guess that would be all the drones and a couple of notes on the chanter.
By the way, Aaron, I have to ask you.
Yeah.
So you had only heard a few songs coming into this podcast of BNL. Was this one of them?
No, I had not heard this song until tonight or this week when I was listening to it. And that's one of the reasons I love doing this is I'm continuously being introduced to new songs, and so many of them have been fantastic. Like Conventioneers. Man, when I heard that song, or The Flag, songs that I had never ever heard, and wow, they've gone into my best of playlist by far. So yeah, it's another one for the playlist. It's a great song, and I had a lot of fun.
Have you heard their little known song 1 week before?
Wait, was it 1 week you said?
Yeah, 1 week.
We'll get to it at some point. Not
That's
next
coming
week,
up.
though.
That's down the road.
That's not far off. All right, I'll go. I'm definitely in the upper in the bass drone territory. I may revisit this one actually when we come back, because I was back and forth on this one. I really like this song a lot. We talked about like Craig has said. I love that it drags you along. It twists you in a lot of places. It definitely pulls you in right from the beginning. I mean, I broke into the old apartment is a good line. That line comes up and you're now listening to the song because it's such a great opener. I love how dark it gets. It just feels dark. You're questioning everything about this guy, but you're also, I think we can all say you can relate to this guy. He's definitely extreme, but everything he's thinking and doing is very relatable. I think a lot of people have been there, and I know I have. So I love the twist of words. I love the harms on the chorus. Like I said, I think I never really thought about it before until I heard it with keys. I definitely love that, but that's always something you can add to it. So it's still there, and I've heard it with keys, and I love that version. So it's definitely, I'm going to go a little bit higher. I'm going to give this one a 4.4. So that would be the drones and a couple holes there as well.
That would be a C on the pipes.
Say it again.
C on the pipes.
4.4.
Thank you.
Oh,
nice.
Jeffrey.
Oh, what did I do?
Uh-oh.
All right, Heidi.
Heidi said this was her favorite
Go
song.
ahead.
Right?
Go ahead.
So,
This
The
is
mighty
one of my
Heidi.
favorites. This has always been on my playlist. It's not a 5, but it's very high for me because this is one of my jam out songs. It's the song that you sing really loud to in your car when you're just driving. Like you just let your freak flag fly on this one. So this is like a full, almost the entire drones and
A near chanter.
Chanter, yeah. And I'm going with a 4.8 on this.
ooh,
Like I
very
said,
nice.
I may revisit because I was hovering there
I think
for a
it's
while.
one of their.
I
I think it's
Yeah.
one of the best songs. I have always enjoyed "Born on a Pirate Ship," which I know is nobody's favorite, but it's got some great stuff on there. But
It's winning me over, Heidi. It really is.
I'm an old BNL person. Maybe you should drive as number 1, and Bopes is a close behind it because there's some good stuff on there. And this was ahead of its time for me. Like that song is just quintessential Bare Naked Ladies for me. So that's a lot of drones and a lot of buttons. I mean, a lot of holes.
think we can call that a near chanter. That's
a near chanter. Can we call it a near chanter? Craig?
An air chanter?
a near chanter. It's almost a chanter. If we put chanter at 5, so it's a near chanter. I don't know.
Oh, I see. I get it.
Yeah.
Yes. Understood.
Boss.
Yeah. Oh, cool. Yeah, that's right.
I'm gonna keep this short. I love this song. It is a 5.
Oh,
definitive.
Wow.
This is a 5. Absolutely.
I feel like we need balloons and like confetti.
Is this to make up for the haterade the last few weeks? Or?
No, this I knew that this was coming, and when I said at the beginning of this year that I knew I had a couple of 5s coming this year, this was one of the ones I knew right off the bat. Boom! This is like, there's not a doubt. This has always been on my playlist. I will seek this out often, and I love it. And yeah, my poor kids have to hear me sing this in the car. I absolutely adore this song for all of the reasons that we talked about tonight, and all the darkness that this song is, and also all the nostalgia that this song is. It's just amazing. So yeah, 5. Hello,
Yes,
sir.
No crack. Broke into the old apartment.
Am I talking to Stefan?
Living by laying on my back.
How is it going, sir?
Good, doing well. How are you?
Good.
Still trying to get.
So tell me what you think about this song, about the old apartment.
When it comes to songs, I think it's overly creative. It's great. It's really a great idea, and it's one of those songs that really establishes them as a great band. It really is. Because it's creative, the lyrics are fantastic. Who thought of breaking into an old apartment and then writing about it and singing about the things that they sing about? I really liked it. Of course, it's just a great song. The music is solid. The lyrics are solid. I love how Steven sings it. What's wrong with the song? Nothing. There's nothing wrong with the song. It's fantastic. However, here's a good twist. I did listen to the demo of Old Apartment, and I thought it was, subpar. I thought that if somebody else was singing it, such as like Kevin or Ed singing that song, it would be really, really good, especially the acoustic version, and how slow it is. I just think Steven is not the right fit for that song. It sounded nasally and it sounded squealy. I didn't like it. So I think somebody else would have done really well. Somebody with a slightly deeper voice, such as Kevin or Ed. They would have nailed that acoustic version. And then I listened to Persuasions. I hate to say it, but I think they are way better than just Bare Naked Ladies. I loved it.
So you like the Persuasions version?
Loved it. I thought it was great. I mean, they put some soul into it. You could just feel it. And it's just, I thought it was really, really good. And there's one member of the band that sounds just like Steven. Oh my God, he is good. I don't know. I think they had soul. And I like that in a band. You could hear, the lead singer, he was like, yeah, he was getting into it. He was feeling it. And I think that's some of the things that's kind of missing from BNL every now and then, especially the new BNL. I don't know. But I liked it. I liked it a lot. And I'm stuck between a rock and a hard place, Tracy. Stuck between a rock and a hard place. How do you take a near perfect song and make it better? Well, I think the Persuasions did that. So what do I rank it as? How do I rank this, Tracy?
What do you rank the original? You're gonna rank the original.
The original is superb. It really is superb. It's a great song, the great premise. Who can't relate to breaking into an old apartment or wanting to break into an old apartment? See how things have changed and how they set up the place, and brings back all these memories. And I think that's the main thing about it is like smelling something that brings you back in time to where you remember your grandmother or somebody baking something, and you know there's memories that are associated with that. You know, like that time where you were in the old apartment and you forgot that you had milk in there or something that you had cooked, and you completely forgot about it for months on end. You know, and you're like, oh, that's nasty. Like you've got those memories ingrained in your brain. It's like, oh man, I remember that time when so and so, you know, passed out on the, you know, on the floor underneath the couch, and we had a hard time finding them. You know, we had this big party, and so broke, you know, this thing, or blah blah blah, lots of things, or the first time that you might have kissed a girl in that apartment, or you know, things like that that really make a difference. Sometimes it's that old apartment that is the ground for which your adult years are built on. You know what I mean? It's like, okay, that was the precursor of me getting married, the precursor of getting a house, and precursor of getting that dog. You know, the dog outgrew the apartment. It was too big, and he kept on knocking over lamps with his tail, and that's what I'm thinking of. And you can't put a score on that. I'm
well, I'm asking you to anyway.
Oh, okay, all right, I'll do that. So, gosh, all right, I'm going to rank the Bare Naked Ladies version 4.8, and you can put in parentheses the Persuasions version is going to be a 4.9.
Ooh.
I'm trying to catch up on some of those songs that I missed. So I have ranked 2 other songs. If you're up for it, or should I do it another time?
I'm up for it. Yeah.
Okay.
No, go right ahead. I'm adding those into the episodes as we go along. So.
Oh, cool. Oh, that's awesome. Well, ladies and gentlemen, this week I ranked Back and Bad Day. So Back was kind of a silly song. It was a classic BNL song, and had the classic BNL sound and classic kind of BNL lyrics, talking about complete nonsense, and somehow you enjoy it. So, falling downstairs, breaking your back, hurting your back, pulling your back, doing stupid things to your back. Never really thought that would be the kind of premise to the song, but it was. I like how it has a country twang to it, and there's some banjos, and it, strangely enough, it grew on me. Yes. At first, I didn't know what to make of it. It was like, oh, right, this is unique. It sounds like Bare Naked Ladies song, but it could easily fit on Gordon. So, because of that, I kind of like it. It's a fun song. I thought it was better than average. Would I put it on my playlist? Probably not. But I thought it was fun. So I'm going to rank that 3. 3 Babies Got.
Okay.
All right. The next one I ranked. Oh, he got it. Baby's Got. Back. Okay. All right. Next one I ranked was Bad Day. And I could get James Taylor vibes from this thing. And I thought it was great. I can't remember what soundtrack this was off of.
This was actually on the Kids album.
He really comes up with good songs for kids. I'm not going to lie.
Mm-hmm.
I even put down applicable for kids. I thought it was amazing. And who doesn't like James Taylor to calm down some young ones? Who doesn't like James Taylor in the first place? I thought it was fantastic. It was great. It was great for both kids and adults. And I think the harmonies in Bad Day were just superb. They were so good. I loved it. You know, I mean, they blended together. I thought it was a really good song. And it was talking about how, you know, you have bad days. Sometimes you have good days. Sometimes you have bad days. And I thought it was, the subject matter was great. I thought the lyrics sounded great. I didn't break down the lyrics, but I just listened to them as best as I could. The instrumentals, James Taylor, you can't go wrong with that. I thought it was a fantastic song. I would definitely put this on my playlist. my BNL playlist. So I am going to rank this 4.8 good days.
Wow, you ranked that one higher than I did. That's impressive.
Really?
Yeah.
Nice.
Heidi gave it a 5, though. So, you know.
Who did?
She had to outdo you. There is the appearances are kind of lackluster this week, so I apologize because I'm running out of appearances. I'm getting low. You know, I don't know if I'm going to make it to the end. So, you know, if you could be on the lookout for new ones, that would be great. So that next week we can, you know, when we discuss on the lookout, then I'll have more appearances.
Yeah, we're there. We got you.
We got it.
See what you did there.
Yeah,
but the appearance.
Know what you're.
The appearance this week is I encourage people to go out and listen to the House of Strombo version that they did just out after they received their award a couple of years ago. On House of Strombo, they did a version of this which is more country rock, and then they have a discussion of like while they were recording this at the gas station studio, there was this fire escape that Tyler went out onto, and he was listening to them while they're recording this and playing back what had just been recorded, and he's out there doing this to the music, which is amazing. And Jim was like, that is awesome. He is so into this song. And then like weeks later, they were playing it in concert and there were some ladies in the back doing this. And if you want to see what the hand motion is that I'm doing, folks, go and watch the House of Strombo because they show you. And there's some ladies in the back going like this to the music. And Tyler looks over at Jim and they're like, yeah, man, right there. I told you. So I love it.
That's a great thing, yeah. So that's a full-blown chanter for you.
That's a full-blown
chanter. You're a full-blown chanter, Tracy.
Yeah, when I'm in the car with the kids, unfortunately for them, I am.
I also recommend going over to Enter the Haggis' YouTube
I was just going to say,
and...
do you want to plug some Enter the Haggis stuff here for us, Craig, and tell us more about this? I have to say, like, I listened to all the videos that you guys have up on your channel, as well as all the stuff I could find on YouTube this week. And my favorite song so far is Miss Ellie.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say my favorite too.
Yeah.
She lost an infant son, a tiny helpless lad. Contracted something hideous, they don't know what he had. But you kept on with tomorrow, never dwelling on the past. You can push it to the corner, but the pain will always last.
Easily.
Yeah, there's a lot of and nice to rock it out and something like that, you know.
Well, it's really nice and dark too.
Oh, it is. Well, that was actually written about somebody had written a book about various stories about a little town called Bayfield, Ontario, where Trevor, our guitarist, his dad lives there, and give him this book. Hey, here's a little book about, you know, Bayfield. And so he was just reading about this woman who by the name of Mrs. Elliott, who had a very tragic life. Well, everyone around her was dying, and she was running an inn up there. So yeah, he wrote this tune, and it wasn't a hard rocker when he brought it in, but man, became one quickly. Yeah, I love it when that happens.
I also really enjoyed Bound for America.
I'm alive, though a part of me is gone. There's a weight upon my shoulders, and the air won't fill my lungs. One more broken soul, one more verse in some old song. On the day I'm bound for America. Hey! If the tides of time tear us.
And if I'm seeing this right, like in the video, did fans send in actual pictures and everything?
Yeah, like the people who are immigrants, and I mean, you know, there's so many of us. I mean, all of us. All of us honkies are all immigrants, you know. We go back a little bit, you know, but we all came from mostly all European in origins, by the looks of us here. I don't know what. I don't see color, but most of us were imports, so you don't have to go back too far.
Yeah.
And so we had. It was very easy to find people to have people send in either their own pictures or their relatives, and let us use them in the video. So it was pretty cool. But I'm glad you like that too.
I will say the catchiest song that I listened to this week was One Last Drink, though.
I've had a life that's full, everyone's bringing it to me. So fire up that fiddle, boy, and give me one last drink. When the sun comes up, I will leave without a fight. The world is mine tonight.
Oh, cool, yeah. Yeah, also based on reality was somebody again that Trevor knew who claimed that he was in hospital, and he said, "I'm not going to die tonight, and I'm not going to die tonight. I'll wait till tomorrow." So with a bit of artistic license, it became a party in the hospital room. I think there might have been some sort of celebration of life while the guy was still alive, and so we like to have it that he took the cap off the bottle and he threw it in the garbage. And I'm sure we've all done that in school, haven't we?
No.
A fun thing to do.
Where would you like to direct people, other than obviously, please go out and see where Enter the Haggis is coming close to you, because you guys are touring throughout the whole spring.
Yeah, we've got quite a bit coming up, and we're very hopeful that we'll be able to have these shows happen. It's been a struggle lately. Everything last month, at the end of last month, was all canceled. But this time around, we seem to be lucky. There's only been one cancellation so far, which was the one in the middle of New York City. And we'll make up for that one again. But I would like people to, if you want to know where to find us, you can go to our Facebook page, the Enter the Haggis Facebook page. That's a good one. Or you can go to enterthehaggis.com and check out the tour schedule.
Excellent.
And if you want to see what we're like, you can, of course, find us on YouTube. We're all over the place.
Thank you so much for joining us.
You're a great guest. In all seriousness,
Ratchet.
It's really it's good to meet you, Craig. I always enjoy meeting a multi-instrumentalist. I'm contractually obligated to bring up They Might Be Giants every episode, so
okay.
I have a tremendous amount of respect
every episode
for people who play like 30 instruments, and it's really cool. I'm definitely going to go listen to a lot of your catalog after this.
Oh, well, thank you. We appreciate it.
Oh, it's great. It's great. I'm excited. Like their music is fantastic. It's right up your alley.
I love Celtic stuff, anyways.
It's great.
Great to meet you, Craig. Thank you.
Yes. Nice to meet all of you. Thank you very much.
Thanks, that was fun. Don't forget, no regrets, except maybe one.
To celebrate joining Pantheon Podcasts, Rock Camp, the podcast, the official podcast of Rock and Roll Fantasy Camp, is giving away a guitar signed by Mike Portnoy of Dream Theater, Marty Friedman, formerly of Megadeth, and legendary shredder Zakk Wylde, plus our rockstar counselors like Vinny Appice, Monty Pittman, and more. To enter to win, simply follow, rate, and review our podcast on your preferred platform, and that's all you have to do. For more information, go to rockcamp.com/podcast.